Hey guys, what's going on, friends and family? My name is Skylent, and we are on a roll for like MMO rants. But if you want to hear any other topic, go join my Patreon. You can donate any amount. There's no reward tiers. It's just pure donations because I need to pay rent and support my family. That'd be great. YouTube's not doing so great right now. But anyways, join the Discord and hash it out with me, and we'll get a video out. I know a lot about a lot of things. I know a little bit about a lot of things, but I like talking. So if you like listening to me talk, then that's a good way to get some videos out. Anyways, guys, the title topic today is going to be something that I want to suggest for every MMO, basically. Most MMOs, I think, generally have like kind of a competitive-ish, or they want to be competitive PvE scene, or they have dungeons, they have dungeoneering, they have raids. A lot of MMOs incorporate this into the gameplay, you know, that cooperative gameplay, just a little bit. Kind of is what makes MMOs MMOs, and I think we all know that there's been some issues when it comes to dungeon finders. Some people don't like them at all. There's definitely issues with group finders, especially in raids and hard content. And I kind of wanted to suggest or throw out kind of a concept there that maybe should just be vastly incorporated in every MMO, basically ever. And it's something that we see in almost any competitive PvP game. Yeah? Any competitive PvP game actually has this system, or most serious ones. If it doesn't, then it's, kind of laugh at it, Fortnite. So basically, I think we should have an elo system, guys. I mean, listen. Even in one of the most friendly MMOs I've ever played, Guild Wars 2, honestly, like, if it was your first time running a dungeon, people would kick you. I'd be a full Zerk warrior, with a sword or axe or both, power warrior. And, people would still kick me because I only ran the dungeon one other time and I might not be super efficient. People would notice it and be like, oh, we'll just kick you. Because I didn't know everything perfectly to speedrun it. Even though I was close, still, like, even in a friendly game where I'm generally very aware of the game, people would still, I would say way too often kick me from groups. Especially when Guild Wars 2 was like more new, and then everyone hated necromancers, especially for certain dungeons. Like, I could never play with Icy Ashley, twitch.tv/Icy Ashley, by the way. She would constantly get kicked, and I would have to leave with her because she's a necromancer, just flat out. Oh, you're a necromancer? Sorry, you can't play. Like, that sort of thing was really annoying. And I think, balancing and things are obviously an issue. And also, it's probably kind of an issue that, especially Guild Wars 2, but a lot of dungeons and MMOs aren't very intuitive. Like, basically, you have to look up how they play, or you have to just throw your face into it over and over and over again, and randoms just don't want to do that. So, it's like, there is a problem with the design of MMOs to an extent, but I think one thing that could change so fucking much, okay, is if, instead of grouping new players with veterans, and not just based on gear score, right, because a new player can get gear eventually, but they're still going to be new to the dungeon. Like, they're still going to not know how to play the dungeon. They can know how to play the game, but each dungeon has, like, unique mechanics and unique phases and things. And, like, dude, I'm good at Dark Souls, but every new boss, probably not going to one-shot it. It's probably going to kill me one time. And I don't know if you guys play MMOs, but sometimes if you wipe once, that's it. Like, half the group will leave. So I think we should have elo matchmaking. And we kind of can see this in some MMO where they balance it based on gear score, and they have varying difficulties of the dungeon. So they might have like a normal, then a veteran, then like a heroic or whatever. And then they have these, they can be like based on gear. But I think it would just be so much easier as well. We're going to have group finders, we're going to have raid finders, things like that. If we could just base that based off of a ranking system, like, okay, he's a new player, he doesn't have any score whatsoever, put him with other new players. And I really want this because my experience, I think especially with Guild Wars 2, was so goddamn magical when I first got the game. Me and Icy and Ashley, we started playing and we did every single dungeon, and it was so fun. It was so much fun. Like, we would wake up and be like, oh my god, we're playing Guild Wars 2 today, baby. It's going to be great. That was such an engaging experience because there was puzzles, there was challenges. Some parts, like, we had to really strategize with people. So as new players were really discovering the game, it was so fun to play with people and really learn the game, because that's part of gameplay. Any game, no game do you just run through it. I don't consider that a very good game. There's always some choices to make, some mistakes to probably be had, whether that it kills you and wipes you, or it just wastes your time. You become less efficient. In the end, like Guild Wars 2, the dungeons would just stop you. It would take a longer time, and overall, like, you could feel progress as you got better with your group. That was great. But it got to a point where people knew how to completely cheese entire dungeons, and you could just run through dungeons. And you would miss so much gameplay that if you're a new player playing with new players and learning that gameplay, it was so fun. So a way to kind of bypass that and like leave out a lot of toxicity of like a new player joining a dungeon and just getting run through would be an elo system. Now, it's not an MMO, but a lot of online action RPGs do this, but it can happen a lot in Warframe, where you join somebody who's extremely high level, who knows exactly what to do, and they basically do the mission for you. And that's something that is distasteful, in my opinion. So not only do I think you should not be matched up with people who have much higher gear score than you, I think that you should also be matched specifically with people who have as much experience as you or at your skill level. This makes sense in any PvP game, and I can't believe that even when we have like World of Warcraft freaking like mythic esport dungeon runs, and we have even mobile games doing PvE esports, we have speedrunning becoming more and more popular. I'm just so surprised that MMOs, which could be such a pioneer for this style of gameplay, because how many other games have dungeons? Not many games have dungeons. Very set, hardcore competitive dungeons. They could go the extra step, you know, like any other competitive game basically, but they just kind of haven't. Now, I think some might have this. I think, you know, I haven't played the end game of every MMO because Jesus Christ, that takes forever. But the games I have played, like Blade and Soul or Terra, you know, Guild Wars 2, a lot of it was just a lot just like, do you have the gear? And even sometimes like they would just let you even if you didn't have the gear, technically. And you just get thrown in with people who know better, people who don't. And it was just awkward, and it just created a toxic environment, which of course it would. And it makes it kind of unfun, and it makes it harder to learn the game as well, to really understand, to have fun with the game, sure, but also to really learn the game. Because if you're just getting run through it, or if somebody's telling you specifically what to do and not really why, and if you're not really engaging the game yourself, it's just not a good, I think it's pretty safe to say that's pretty objective, that's not good game design. And we have to understand that this is an online space, these are social games, and how we interact socially is part of the game design. So that's why people don't like a lot of dungeon finders. They don't like the raid finders and things like that because it takes out a lot of the social experience. But if you are going to have those things and take these, you know, as a very like a pinnacle of your gameplay, as the pinpoint example of like, okay, this World of Warcraft is dungeons. Okay, we're doing dungeons. We have an epic end game. Then why do you make it kind of so mixed matched and awkward to really learn those? Though I have not actually raided in World of Warcraft, so I don't know if the raids specifically actually have matchmaking. That'd be hella cool. But I'm just saying, the general dungeoning experience in WoW does not have that. Just kind of has gear score, and I guess the dungeons are kind of easy now anyways, so I don't know. But yeah, no, I'm just saying, in my experience with the vast majority of MMOs in general, they would benefit so greatly to have an ELO or matchmaking rating system. I'm not saying that I'm not saying this should be public. You know, people can rate your dungeon experience. Maybe that shouldn't. Maybe you should be able to hide that. I'm sure that's a whole conversation that people talk about in Overwatch and people talk about in League of Legends. Like maybe you should be able to hide your rank because that's a form of toxicity. You know, hide your KD, things like that. Maybe, sure, I guess. I don't know. But what I want is I want to go into a new MMO and play with new players. I hate when I play a game, and not just MMOs, but like games like Dungeon Defenders, which is an amazing game, by the way, but when you play with someone higher level or somebody who already kind of solved the puzzle, because it's tower defense, so it's kind of puzzly, when you play with somebody who just knows how to win and they carry you, it's not fun. It's not fun to me. You know, just getting carried and just not, like if you're the bronze player on a team of masters players, are you really playing the game then? Are you really doing anything? You know what I'm saying? Like in Overwatch, like if you just get completely carried, what did you do? You didn't really PvP. So here, I just don't think that a lot of times you PvE. And if you have a lot of groups that are mixed matched and, you know, like it's unfun. Like you guys aren't really clearing the content. You're not doing very well. And one person is really, really good at it. And he's getting frustrated and he leaves. And you just have a bunch of people leaving because it's, you know, there's like too much toxicity. You guys aren't really communicating well enough. Then, you know, that what are you doing? You're not doing PvE. You're literally not playing the game. A lot of the times in these games, you're just sitting in a dungeon queue. And that is so boring. And it's mainly because people get aggravated. And it's not just because they're losing. It's because they had a certain expectation, you know? They expected to play at a certain time, a certain pace. MMOs take so much time and effort that, you know, and there's such a specific gameplay that each person wants. And that MMOs have a wealth of gameplays. So to really match people to do specific things, I think we need a little bit of help with that. You know, a literal matchmaking rating system would be fantastic. Role queues, I think, have been really good, though I think more game design should be focused on balancing more people playing healers, more people wanting to play tanks, things like that. Making it more known, making the game more intuitive, how to learn the dungeons would be better. I know that there's a lot of add-ons for World of Warcraft that can really help out. Sure, but these things should all be built in my opinion, and the game design itself should be more expressive to explain itself as you play it. Guild Wars 2 is notorious for having some puzzles that are just like, what? You almost have to look it up. So that's really all I gotta say on that. Matchmaking rating system, I think, would be great. You know, if you are gonna have dungeon fighters, and if you are gonna take your dungeons seriously, fuck, you know, if you have like a dungeon esports, if that's what people are paying expansions for, paying money for, and really playing the game for, if people are taking it seriously and then getting mad because other people aren't taking it seriously, or there's a mixed match of moods and morales, then please, developers, take it seriously yourself. Put in matchmaking rating systems. And consumers, if you agree with me, please shout it out on some forums. I think that'd be really cool. And let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comments below. But that's just my thoughts. That's what I gotta say. You know, I play a lot of different games, and I don't get to end game for every game. And generally that's because as leveling, I can kind of see the flow. It's like, oh, dungeoning is kind of, you know, it's not always the dungeons that are bad. Like Terra has really good dungeons. I just didn't, it's not always easy to find people. It's not always easy to find the right people at the right time. And, you know, so MMR rating system like you see in any esport, any competitive game, please, let's take PvE more seriously. We're spending a fuck ton of time on it and money on it, so let's get the systems in place that, you know, allow us to do more. Give us the tools, please, and thank you. That's it, guys. Hope you guys have fun, keep the hype alive, and I will see you again next time.